A reason to switch to the pill that you may not have thought of. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Meghan. I'm a board-certified obesity medicine physician and weight loss coach, helping you cut through the pseudoscience and confusion in weight care. My approach combines evidence-based medicine with real behavioral change. You don't just take medications. You actually transform your health. So today we are going through so many amazing, wonderful questions that you all sent in. And as always, as a caveat, I can't answer personal medical questions because I'm not your personal doctor. So if there is a little bit of a personal question, I'm going to change it so it's more broadly educationally applicable. And as always, if you're watching this and you're thinking, you know, I really could use some additional help with my eating, it is not where I need it to be, it is not helping my medication, click on the link below and schedule a call with me and I will tell you all about how I help people just like you. Today's first question is, this one is a little bit long, so I'm going to shorten it, but you'll get the gist. So this viewer has been on Zepbound for 3.5 months. After the first couple days, I really don't feel like it gives me much help with food noise and appetite. I'm on 7.5 now. I spent 4 weeks on 2.5 and 8 weeks on the 5. The last 4 weeks on 5 did almost nothing. I've lost weight every month, but I really don't think the drug has all that much to do with it. It's just that when the drug is being effective for the food noise and the appetite suppression, it's much, much easier to stay within my calorie limit. So I'm confused when people say I didn't lose any weight until I got to 10 milligrams, for example. What does that really mean? I would love to go up in the dose next month to 10 milligrams, but when I hear that weight loss is the determining factor, do I just let myself relax, overeat, and gain weight, and then go up in dose? Okay, the reason why I ask is that I would love to go up in dose next month to 10 milligrams because I feel like so much of my week is spent struggling. But I hear, okay, so basically this question is a couple different questions here. Number one, somebody wants to go up on the dose, but they feel like they're losing weight. And so do they need to go up on the dose or should they just stay where they are and gain weight and then go up on the dose? And then the next one is they're having a real struggle in the days throughout the week at different times of the week. And then the third question is they don't really understand when people say they didn't lose weight until they got to a certain dose. So I'll just answer that one right off the bat. It's exactly what it sounds like. Some people, maybe they have symptom relief, maybe they have lower appetite, less food noise, but the scale doesn't really budge. And that could be for many, many reasons, and I've made a gazillion videos about that. But really, some people, it just takes them, they don't see much of a weight change until they get to a higher dose. So they may feel like it's changing their appetite and the food noise, they may not, but they really don't see an effect on their weight until a higher dose. Some people, and there's lots of reasons for that. That's number one. And then number two, one of the question was a dose related question of should I go up on the dose, which, I can't answer personal medical questions, but I will say, even if somebody is losing weight on a dose, I might still bump them up on a dose if if somebody's losing 2 to 3 pounds a week, I'm going to keep them where they are until that slows down a little bit, because I might not need to go up on the dose. But if they're losing maybe ½ pound a week, 1 pound a week, but there are other things that we feel like could be better controlled and we want to see what happens at a higher dose and they're not like really close to their goal weight. For me, it's, again, it's like an art and the science, because if somebody is still losing weight, but it's not a really significant amount, and they're not so close to their goal weight yet, so we're not going to run the risk of going over it. And there's other things that the medication may help with at a higher dose in terms of appetite, food noise, things like that, that I very well might bump up the dose for that person. And the last thing that this question addresses that I'm picking up on is that they're having a lot of interweek difficulty. So they get a couple days of relief in terms of food noise and appetite, but then towards the end of the week, it really comes back. Now, if somebody is having that and they're losing weight, it doesn't mean that the medication isn't working, but they're still having, it's not completely taking away that food noise and that appetite. And here's the other thing. I have good news and bad news. for those people and they're still losing weight, like the medication is working. The bad news is that probably at any dose you're on, you will have some sort of inter-week variability. So for some people, the food noise does not completely go away and the appetite does not completely go away. And you may have that different type of sensation throughout the week. And so you really need to find a way to manage it, because you can't say, oh, it's totally gone, and outsource everything to the medication. This is one of the main reasons why I made my private practice to coach people through this, because it comes up so much and people, the medication helps with so much, but it doesn't teach you how to manage these things necessarily, right? So what do you do on those days? You don't want to undo all that you've done, for the beginning part of the week, right? You don't want to overeat on, day 5 and 6 and then feel terrible and then kind of start the cycle all over again. So you need a system in place. You need a plan. So fortunately for some people, this is something that they really do need to sit down and figure out how they are going to get a handle on it. I will also say that for some patients, if it's bothering them enough, that is a patient I might also think about switching to a pill. Now, they may not lose as much weight on the Wegovy pill or Foundeo, but it is going to take that week, that inter-week variability. It's going to take that away because you're taking it every day. And so you have a really steady dose and you're not getting that kind of cycle throughout the week. So if that is a really big problem for somebody, that is another solution that I will consider for them. Again, they're not as powerful, but if it's something that it's going to enable somebody to stay on it forever, that's really worth considering. So thank you so much for all those great questions. Next question. I started out at 265 in January, and as of July, I'm at 230. I've been trying to do 120 minutes of cardio and resistance training a day. I'm seeing decent improvement in the length of cardio time and decent improvements in strength. Most weeks I have no weight loss at all. Not sure why. Am I overtraining? Should I just walk? My goal is 170. Great questions. First of all, congratulations on your weight loss. Congratulations on making some really good exercise progress. 120 minutes, that is a lot of time. I will leave the general guidelines for time for exercise in the comment section below. They're not set in stone. Some people believe you should do more or it should be more vigorous. I think it's a good ballpark to get, the wheels turning in terms of where you should be. But I will leave that in the comment section or the description box down below. But overall, it sounds like you're getting stronger. Sounds like you can go for longer, you can lift more weights, all that is good. Sounds like you're getting, probably what's happening is you're getting body composition changes. So this happens to a lot of people who work out a lot. You may notice that the scale, after a while, it's not really moving, but your clothes are fitting differently. So you really want to go by, if you work out a lot, sometimes the scale is not the best indicator. And so for these people especially, I will recommend okay, look at the scale, but don't make it the be all end all. Think about how your clothes are fitting, what your energy level is like. Could you do this forever? Is this exercise dedication? Is this something that you could do for years and years and years? Also, because 120 minutes is that's a lot. And you have to also think about joints and energy. And so, again, I can't answer personal medical questions, but that's something I would really be thinking about is, not burning the candle at both ends. This is somebody who's working out a lot, who's making great progress in terms of strength and things like that. I want them to go by their clothing size, but also a DEXA scan is a really good fit for somebody like that too. And I've made a bunch of videos about that, a DEXA scan, because it's going to give you your body composition and it's going to give you different metrics to look at in terms of your percent body fat, your visceral body fat. It does give you percent non-fat mass. That does not really tell you, it doesn't tell you muscle, because non-fat mass is just everything that's not fat. So you can approximate it if you're making gains, and a lot of times it'll break down in terms of parts of the body. So you can extrapolate the information from that, but I wouldn't say necessarily like, oh, I gained, 1 pound of muscle, because it's not going to really tell you that. But DEXA scan is very helpful. You can do it like every 6 months as another way to track your progress. And a great question for people for whom this is happening is, how would you feel about your body if you had no idea what the scale said and you were never going to find out again? Because it really encourages you to think about all these other things, and you may find like, oh, actually, like I'm really happy with my body where it is. And the only thing that's making me unhappy is like this random number that I've decided is what I want to be at. But actually, if I throw that info out, I'm really happy with the way that I am right now. Or, I'd be really happy if, this fit a little bit better, or I could, get into a plane seat a little more easily. Or you really want to dig into these non-scale goals, especially if you're somebody who is so physically active, which again, these are great problems to have. So congratulations on all your success, but these are the things that I would really think about in terms of gauging your progress. Next question, can you discuss the advantages and disadvantages of moving from long-term 2.4 Wegovy for someone whose weight has plateaued to Wegovy 7.2 versus switching the patient to Zepbound? Okay. This comes up for me. If I have a patient and they've done well on Wegovy, they're at 2.4, they didn't have a ton of side effects. Overall, they're tolerating it very well, but their BMI is not quite where we want it to be, and I have the option, go to high dose Wegovy or change to Zepbound. Usually I'm going to go to high dose Wegovy because they're already on it, and I know that it's already working for them. So I'm going to try that first and see what kind of effect we can get. If it's not getting a great effect, or they're just having too many side effects and they can't tolerate it, then I'll think about changing them to Zepbound. So great question. Next question. Actually, this is 2 questions. These are 2. I'm going to do 2 like rapid fire medication related questions. If I'm on Zoloft and Zepbound, will I gain the weight I lost if I stop Zepbound but keep taking Zoloft? So if somebody stops taking Zepbound, highly likely that they will gain weight back, regardless of the other medications they're on. Okay, next question. You mentioned venlafaxine as a weight-promoting medication, but is desvenlafaxine also a weight-promoting medication? Okay, so this viewer is asking about Prestique, and yes, in theory, it is weight-promoting. Again, maybe not as much, certainly not as weight-promoting as something like Paxil. Am I surprised if somebody comes in and they say, I started taking Prestique and I gained 10 to 15 pounds. Am I surprised? No, absolutely not. Is it a medication where people are going to gain 50, 75 pounds? No, not usually. I haven't seen that. But again, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not seeing those patients as much. But I wouldn't expect that either. But would I be surprised at a 10 to 20 pound weight gain for somebody taking that medication? Absolutely not. And again, not everybody, but I think, again, I always think anybody who is prescribing a medication like an SSRI or an SNRI, you have to tell the patient, hey, you may gain 10 to 20 pounds on this medication. Are you okay with that? Okay. Great question. If you have a question, you can leave it on this video or another video, and I will add it to the list. These questions come from the community, so please ask away. Also, if you are watching this and you are thinking, I do really need a system, I need a way to deal with food noise, I need a way to solve the food chaos because it is really not helping my medication. So many people, they lose weight on the medication, and then there's so many other benefits that they could be getting that they are leaving on the table because they don't have a proper way to deal with food cravings, the things that medication does not completely solve. So if you want help with that, I do it all the time. It's my favorite thing to talk about. So click on the link to schedule a call with me, and I will tell you all about how I help people just like you. Oh, like, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you so much for watching, and please be well.